event in poker. Pretty impressive that all the players came out to support the Doyle Brunson North American Poker Championship. Action's going to be on Carlos Mortensen.
Carlos has got 8-7 offsuit.
Folds.
One of those times.
Keto not interested with king 6.
Bye-bye.
Law picking up what's considered the worst hand you can start with in no limit hold'em, the 7-deuce offsuit. He folds.
Now David Pham with the ace-jack of clubs.
Now remember earlier, David Pham tried to bluff Eric Seidel out of the small blind position, and it cost him. Here he's just limping in with ace-jack of clubs.
Eric Seidel has a hand. He's got king 10 of hearts.
When your opponent limps in like that, you'd have to think that king 10 of hearts would be the best hand right now. You just assume your opponent's trying to see a cheap flop here. Well, Eric Seidel going to raise it 150,000.
David Pham looks like he set him up beautifully.
Yes, he did. David Pham is going all in right now. 700,000 altogether. It's going to cost Eric nearly 500,000 more to call this bet. You got to love the way David Pham has played this pot so far, whether he wins it or not. He has set the trap.
Oh, boy. Right into the New Yorker.
Well, Eric Seidel, a backgammon expert and odds expert, getting nearly 2-1 on his money, but it's going to cost him about $500,000 if he wants to call and gamble here. If he would play and lose this pot, it would be a severe blow to his chip stack.
Oh, look at this. He's going to call it.
Eric Seidel going to call here.
He is committed.
Well, right now, David Pham over a 3-2 favorite to win this pot.
Now, Pham, if he should lose this, would be eliminated. However, if Eric Seidel should lose, he would still have some remaining chips.
But he'll be crippled if he loses this pot. David Pham must win it to stay alive. Let's see what happens. It's ace-jack versus king 10. Here comes a flop. Oh, bingo for David. It's come ace-8-deuce.
He's hit his pair of aces on the flop.
What this means is Eric Seidel must catch 2 runners in a row to win this pot.
2 cards to come.
Well, there's one of them. He's hit the king.
Yes, he has.
Well, you see the look on David Pham's face there. He knows that his fire can be put out here if Eric catches a king or a 10.
Potential horror show there. River card coming up.
Oh, it's never easy. You always have to suffer.
Here it is.
It's a 3.
Well, it's a 3. So David, the Dragon Pham, doubles up. And Vince, you got to give him some credit the way he played that hand.
He just limped in against Eric, hoping that Eric would raise, try to blow him out of the pot. This is backfired for Eric Seidel right now.
Well, he and Hung Law on the short stacks right now. Carlos Mortensen and Keto Pham tied at the top.
And it's got to be on Hung Law. This time he's got queen 10 offsuit.
Well, remember the last time he had this hand, he went all in with it and won. He's going all in with it again here, Vince.
He's going berserk here.
That's 430,000 all in.
David Pham, he's got ace-4s. He's not going to play it, though.
Eric folds.
Around to Carlos, who's got a pair of 8s.
Well, Carlos calls him.
Yep, he does.
Now, action's on Keto Pham. Now, he only has a queen 6 of hearts. What can he be thinking about here, Vince? It's 400,000 to him. One man's gone all in, another man's called.
You want me to protect you? No, play your hand.
He's joking, says, do you want protection?
Fluff and puff show there by Keto, so we have two-way action.
Well, Hung Law is going to like when he sees the 2 8s, because essentially we have a coin flip situation here. Can he get lucky and win the pot? If so, he stays alive. If not, he goes back home to Manhattan Beach. Will Hung Law be hung out to dry? Stay tuned. We'll be right back with exciting action on the World Poker Tour.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We're in Vegas, where short stack Hung Law is all in against Carlos Mortensen's pocket 8s.
Will this be the demise of Hung Law?
The 2 8's a slight favorite, but it's about as good a shape as Hung Law could find himself in here, I think.
There's the flop.
Well, flop comes Jack 5 deuce.
Carlos out in front with the pair of 8s.
So Hung Law must catch a queen or a 10 or 2 running cards to make a straight. Otherwise, he'll be our 5th place finisher. Here comes 4th Street. Well, it's a king. Now, that gives Hung Law an open-end straight draw, but it gives Carlos a flush draw. Hung Law can win the pot if an ace, a queen, a 10, or a 9 comes up, none of which are a heart.
Everything rides on the river. Here it is.
It's a king. Carlos Mortensen has knocked out Hung Law. Well, Vince, we say all the time, in No Limit Hold'em, you got to win the races to win these titles. A race finally goes to the side of Carlos Mortensen. Hung Law, our 5th place finisher.
And he will pick up $120,000. Tremendous effort here on the World Poker Tour. And we are down to 4 players here at Bellagio. And Carlos Mortensen still out in front. He's got about 3 million. But the IHOP player of the table, the guy with the short stack, is definitely Eric Seidel. He's only got $300,000. Let's get back to the table.
Action's going to be on Carlos. Looks at a 9-7 and folds.
Now it's on Keto Fam, and look at this. He's got the pair of aces.
Just incredible, picking up 2 aces on the button.
So-called amateur at the table. Picking up the monster of all monsters, the pair of aces before the flop.
But notice how calm he's remaining here. Doesn't want to give away the strength of his hand. Here he is going to raise it. Makes it $180,000 to go.
Into David Pham, who's got a 10-5.
David folds.
Now it's on Eric. Eric's got Queen Jack this time.
Well, Eric's going to gamble with it. He's on the short stack. He knows he's got to make something happen.
Oh, boy, what a bad time to make the stand, but he's forced to.
Well, he just saw his opponent's 2 aces.
Kiddo's got pocket aces. Queen Jack off.
You can see the look of disgust on Eric's face. But, you know, you can't fault him for making a play. He's on the short stack. He's got to make something happen.
Well, he's going to be a big dog. 5 cards to come. Eric Seidel on the brink of extinction here at Bellagio.
Yep, he's going to have to get very lucky to stay alive in this tournament.
Here comes the action.
Flop comes 6-4 deuce.
Not good for Eric.
Well, Eric must catch 2 runners in a row to win this pot.
Queen Jack.
Oh, he is hanging in there by dental floss right now.
Well, he is a substantial underdog now. He knows it. Off we go to the turn. Well, a 5 comes off, so that gives him a little life in that if a 3 comes up now, they will split this pot. They'll both have a 6-high straight. So Eric's chuckling a little bit. Can he get lucky and catch the crab?
Here's the river.
Nope, he doesn't do it. The 6 comes off, and that's going to do it for Eric Seidel. Eric Seidel, so admired in the poker world, not only for his playing abilities, but for the way he conducts himself at all times. This wasn't meant to be for Eric here today. He finishes in 4th place, takes home $165,000. Nice ovation for Eric Seidel.
So it's your first final table for the World Poker Tour. You think we'll see you again soon?
I hope so. I hope I'm just warming up. You know, take a 4th this time, and next time move up a little bit, maybe come in first.
All right. Well, we look forward to that. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
Well, we are down to 3 here at Bellagio. And with that, the blinds are going up. It's going to be $50,000 and $100,000 for the blinds. It's going to put the pressure on the players just that much more.
Right now, it's Carlos Mortensen versus All in the Family. He's up against Keto Fam and David Pham. They are not related. Keto lives in Texas. David lives in California.
All right, well, Keto this time has Jack 3 of hearts. He doesn't have his aces. Throws it away.
Around to David the Dragon Pham. He looks down at 2 3s here.
Nice starting hand, especially 3-handed.
Notice he stared across the table at Carlos Mortensen before he's decided to do anything.
This guy is the low stack at this point.
Come on.
He's going all in with the 2 3s.
He's going to put the pressure on. Carlos quickly calling with ace-jack of clubs.
You got pair?
So here we go, a classic race situation for nearly a $2 million pot. Carlos has the ace-jack. David has the 2 threes. In no-limit hold'em tournaments, you have to get lucky and win races, whether you have the overcards or the pair, if you want to win titles. It's come down to this right now, especially for the Dragon. He must win this pot to stay alive.
Just incredible. A virtual coin flip at this point. 5 cards to come. Carlos Mortensen, a former world champion, going up against the Dragon. Here we go.
Well, flop comes 10-6-5.
And the Dragon out in front with a little pair of threes.
So far, the 2 threes holding up.
2 more cards to come.
David the Dragon fam must win this pot to stay alive.
Here's the turn.
Well, a 9 comes off on the turn.
It's another great card for David Pham.
Well, right now, he's got to dodge an ace or a jack. If he does so, he will double up and win a $1.8 million pot. Well, it's a 4. The 2 threes stand up. And David Pham gets right back in the thick of this thing, virtually giving all 3 players around $2 million in chips. You see the look on Carlos's wife's face, Cecilia. A little pain she felt there. But still, Carlos in good shape.
Got to get a little lucky in this game. The Dragon getting lucky right there. His hand holding up. But here we go once again on the great Carlos Mortensen. This time he's got ace-6.
Well, he knows this is a favorite hand over the blinds. He pops it up to 300,000.
Into Quito. Throws away a 6-3.
So here's David Pham. Looks down at a 3 deuce. Carlos has raised him 200,000.
The blinds being 50 and 100. Everything's stinging at this point. David's taking his time. What's he thinking about here?
He's going to raise the pot here with a 3 high. No, he just got lucky with 2 threes, but we're talking about a 3 deuce here, folks.
590.
Oh, man, he is raising with nothing but imagination.
He's bet 890,000.
Just incredible.
With a 3 deuce. So he's going to put Carlos to the ultimate test right here.
Right back in the Spaniard's face.
Folks, let me tell you, win or lose this pot, you got to have a lot of heart when you're raising a player like Carlos Mortensen with a 3 high. And you're talking about playing for $1 million here, folks. This is real money they're playing for. And to make a play like that at this stage of the tournament, it's just awesome.
Carlos not liking this at all. A little suspicious, though.
Well, it looks like he is suspicious. Now look at David's face here.
Yeah.
Now, to me, this is a little bit of a tell. And by that, I mean this. In poker, when a guy looks like he's strong, generally he's weak. Will Carlos pick up on that?
Carlos in another quandary.
He looks back at his hand. He decides to lay it down.
He's not going to battle here.
And David, the Dragon Pham, breathes fire again here.
This is a brilliant play, though.
Re-raising the pot with a 3 deuce. It takes the heart of a champion to do it. David Pham is one. What a nice play right there to earn that pot.
So brave poker going on here at Bellagio. There's $1 million at stake. That's the kind of poker you have to play.
There's more first-class poker action from Bellagio when the WPT continues right after this.
When I first came to Las Vegas, Jimmy the Greek Snyder called me Doyle, and some reporter heard that, and somehow he got Texas Dolly out of it. Did just been there ever since.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We're at Bellagio, where 3 players remain in the Doyle Brunson North American Poker Championship.
Money shifting here. David Pham is actually the chip leader with close to $2.3 million. Line still a heavy 50 and 100,000.
Well, to win these championships, you got to have heart. Lots and lots and lots of heart. Certainly, we're seeing that today by David Pham and Carlos Mortensen and Keto Pham, for that matter. These guys are all showing heart here at this final table.
It's going to be back on Keto Pham.
Well, he looks down at a 4-3.
He's got the button in front of him, but he's going to throw it. And the Dragon's got the Dolly Parton hand, a 9 and a 5.
And he's on a little roll, as we say. Won a couple pots in a row here. Feeling good right now. It'll cost him $50,000 more to call, and he does so. And look at this, Vince. Carlos has exactly the same hand, a 9-5.
He's going to play it differently.
Yeah, he sure is.
He's going to bump it up.
He's putting pressure on David Pham right now. Raised it $200,000 with a 9-5 offsuit here.
Says, I like my Dolly Parton better.
He's in position. He sensed David was trying to see a cheap flop there.
It's going to work.
He raised him, and he picks up that pot. And it just shows you, the guys that fire at pots seem to do the best. We're seeing that here tonight on the World Poker Tour.
Well, it's almost like Carlos has got nothing to lose. I mean, he was the chip leader, but right now he's actually the low stack.
Although they're pretty even in chips. Carlos the short stack out of the 3.
Thank you.
Back to the action. It's going to be on the Dragon. He's on the button. This time he looks down at a huge hand. Ace-Queen.
Well, that's a monster hand in a 3-handed game.
Cost him $100,000 to call.
Well, he's getting out some raisin chips, it looks like.
300.
He's going to raise it $200,000. He makes it $300,000 to go.
Going to make it tough on Carlos. Carlos looks down at an ace-5 of diamonds. Pretty nice starting hand.
Well, he glances over at Keto. He looks over at David. What's he going to do now?
I move all in.
He moves all in. Nearly $1.9 million in the pot here.
Keto quickly folding a king-7 back on David the Dragon.
How much? No.
Well, David says, how much have you got? Remember, you're entitled to know how many chips your opponent has. David wants him to count them down. And even though David's got like $2.2 million, he's only going to have about $200,000 left if he calls and loses this pot.
So, how much more for me?
Could Carlos be spinning out of control here a little bit? He was so used to being the chip leader. Seems to be playing awfully fast right now, and he's up against a guy that has a strong hand. This could be the demise right now of Carlos Mortensen.
Well, first, David Pham has to call the raise, and it's a huge raise, folks. Over $1.5 million raise. This is essentially the tournament right here, right now, for one of these guys, if David Pham opts to play this pot.
If the Dragon should call this, he would be a huge favorite. He'd have ace-queen over ace-5.
I call.
He's going to call it.
Yes, he is. He's doing it. So here you have it. David Pham well over a 2-1 favorite to win this pot. Carlos sick at the moment. He knows he got caught here. He was hoping his opponent had something like King Jack or King 10 and would throw it away. He knows he has to get lucky to stay alive in this tournament. You see the concerned look on Cecilia's face. She knows he's walking the tightrope right now. Can he stay on it?
Here come the first 3.
Oh, it comes Queen 5-3 with 2 diamonds.
The Dragon out in front with the queens. Carlos with a pair of 5s and 4 to the flush.
Both have big hands at this stage. David smiling. It's never easy, David. You know that. He's got to dodge a diamond for the flush and a 5 for 3 5s.
And if he could sweat this out and knock out Carlos, it would be a final showdown of Phams.
Well, a huge pot here. Nearly $3.9 million in this pot.
Here's the turn.
Yes! It's a diamond.
He did it.
He's caught the 6 of diamonds.
Olé!
Carlos Mortensen has outdrawn the Dragon here. The Dragon drawing dead. Carlos Mortensen will win this pot and take a substantial chip lead at this final table. Heartbreak for David Pham right there. Elation for Carlos Mortensen.
Last card irrelevant. Carlos Mortensen's going to take a tremendous pot.
That is what he's talking about, Lago.
And there goes Cecilia.
Oh, yeah.
Back with the Macarena.
And for
Jeez.
good reason. You're talking about a big difference in prize money here between third place and first. $250,000 to $1 million, plus that coveted World Poker Tour title.
Finally, I have a Lago in this final table, you see?
That is tremendous. He is way out in front as our new chip leader.
Now, guys, we have a game here.
Carlos Mortensen, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more here on the World Poker Tour.
Come on!
They do such a good job here at the Bellagio. You know, this is a first-class hotel and first-class card room. I play almost exclusively here because that's where all the high-limit games are. Chip Reese, Chow Jang, Eli Lazarus, Sammy Farhar, Barry Greenstein, Phil Ivey. It's kind of the nucleus of the game. In the back of the pool halls and bars and so forth, we used to have kind of a card table thrown up, you know, with sawdust on the floor. Yeah, I'd say there's quite a bit of difference in the places I used to play.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We're in the beautiful Fontana Lounge at Bellagio.
What a setting for a poker championship.
And Carlos Mortensen in that commanding lead again with close to 3.9 million. Blinds a hefty 50 and 100,000. $1 million at stake for the winner.
Well, right now, David Pham on the respirator down to about 300,000 in chips.
And it is on him, and this time he looks down at a King 5 of Hearts.
Now it's 100,000 for him to call. You would think if he's going to play this pot, he just puts all his chips out there right now.
Call.
But he just calls the 100,000.
Into Carlos, who has ace-4.
Carlos sees he doesn't have many chips left.
$400,000.
Carlos is going to bet 400,000.
Quito quickly going out.
Notice that's just enough to set David all in.
290, right? Yeah.
So this is going to be a showdown. The Dragons all in with King 5 against Carlos Mortensen with ace-4.
Right now, Carlos about a 3-2 favorite to win this pot. If it holds up, David Pham is going to be our third place finisher. Can David get lucky and outdraw Carlos here?
Here comes the flop.
It's come Queen Jack 5. Well, so far so good for David. He's caught a pair of fives.
Yes, he has. He's out in front with the 5s.
Carlos has 3 spades.
2 cards to come.
Right now, Carlos Mortensen is going to have some help. He wants to take David Pham out on this hand.
Here's the turn.
Well, it's an 8 on the turn, so what that means is Carlos Mortensen must catch an ace. It's the only card he can catch to win this pot.
Never say die, Dragon.
Can the Dragon dodge the bullet and stay alive?
Stranger things have happened. Here's the river.
It's a 4. So there you go. David the Dragon Pham doubles up and stays alive.
And a big smile for David Pham. Having to sweat that out.
Well, that's the first step of the comeback trail for David Pham there.
Nice hit a ton pass.
You know, Doyle Brunson has a famous quote. He says that he doesn't need cards to win at poker. He just needs to read the other player.
No Limit Hold'em is a people game. And Shauna Hyatt looks into the psychology behind playing the player in this week's Poker Corner.
When it comes to No Limit Texas Hold'em, there are 3 levels of play. The first is when you only pay attention to the cards in your own hand.
You can wait for luck and you just play the cards.
The next level is when you start asking yourself, What cards does my opponent have?
You determine what you're going to do by what your opponent does. A lot of times your cards has nothing to do with it. You're not playing your cards. You're playing your opponent's cards.
But you reach world-class status when you master the skill of knowing what card I can make you think I have.
You have to play the person as much as you play your cards.
Look at David Williams staring him down. Daniel staring right back at him.
In No Limit Hold'em, if you are able to beat your opponent psychologically, he has no chance.
I knew you were going to do that, but I don't know what I'm doing yet. Okay.
When you reach the third level, where you mentally outfox your opponent, then your illusion can become a profitable reality.
All right, I'll let you take one.
While getting great cards is helpful to win at the highest levels, any two cards will do.
Well, as you just saw in the poker corner, poker is a people game. It's all about playing the player.
And right now, Carlos doesn't care who he's playing. He is on a rush. He is steamrolling. He could taste that $1 million first prize.
But it's not over. Anything can happen. We've seen it happen time and time again on the World Poker Tour.
Action back on Keto. He's got the button in front of him. He's got a king 9 in his hand.
Well, he's on the short stack out of the 3.
Going to dental clinic down in Texas. His wife in the audience here today. And
well, he's doing it right here. I don't blame him for going all in with this hand.
He's going to make a statement.
He's gone all in with the king 9.
Now look at this right behind him. The Dragon has a legitimate pair of 4s.
Now, it's the kind of hand that you want to bet first with, though.
So if I go all in this hand,
If this would be a three-way pot, and Kiddo and David would be all in, and Carlos would win the pot, Kiddo would finish third, David would finish second based on the amount of chips he had starting
Director
the pot.
Jack McClellan explaining that if they both go all in this pot and lose it, the guy who will get the second place finish is the guy who started the pot with more chips.
Which would be David the Dragon. He's starting with about 600,000. And we're talking about the difference of about $250,000 between third and second. So it's a very legitimate question right now.
Well, David knows it's highly likely his opponent's got at least 2 overcards here.
and next the blind come up.
Well, this is a very important question that he's asking. When do the blinds and antes go up again? They go up the next deal.
Next hand to 8160 with a 15,000 ante.
What that means is, if he doesn't play this hand, he's going to have to play one very shortly because the blinds and antes are sky high.
I call.
He's going to call it.
Yep, he's going to do it right here. He's going to gamble with this pair.
Carlos looks down at his hand.
He's got a 9-deuce offsuit.
A very ugly 9-deuce.
If I call it, it's over, right?
He would love to gamble to try to knock them both out, but opts to get out of their way. So right now we're going to have a family feud here, although they're not related, but they're going at it right here. If Keto loses, he's out of the tournament. If David loses, he's down to less than the blinds.
Fam against fam. Here's the flop. The king hits.
A king comes right off on the flop. Doesn't look good for David Pham right here. David, the Dragon Pham, needs to catch a 4 here to take Keto out of this tournament.
2 cards to come. It's a 10 on the turn. Not going to help the Dragon.
Well, the Dragon in bad shape right now.
He will be on the morphine drip.
Kings and 10s against 4s and 10s, 1 to come.
Can he catch a cold 44? That's the question.
10-4 over and out.
Here we go with the last card.
There's a 6.
No, he's not going to do it.
6. And that means Keto Pham is going to double up here, and David the Dragon Pham is going to be crippled. He had a shot to take Keto out right there, get to play heads up for this title, move up $250,000 in chips. Didn't work out for him.
Well, 1 Pham happy, 1 miserable. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more from Bellagio on the World Poker Tour.
There is no magical formula in these tournaments. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what player says it. I think a lot of poker is something that's just in you. You just have to be ready to play it and take risk, and a lot of people aren't prepared to do that.
The World Poker Tour, we are at the Bellagio for the Doyle Brunson North American Poker Championships, and we are down to 3.
And right now, Carlos Mortensen is the matador from Spain, and Quito and David Pham are the bulls.
And the antes and blinds are going up. Antes being 15,000, the blinds being 80 and 160. Right now, it's going to be on the Dragon.
He looks at 8-4 of diamonds. And David down to less than the big blind. He either plays this hand or the next one. He has no choice.
He has been whittled down, but this time he's got 8-4 diamonds. Very unspectacular. He's choosing not to play it.
It's my move. I move on lane.
And look at this. Carlos goes all in here with ace high.
Ace 5, but right behind him, Quito's got a real hand. He's got a pair of 10s.
Call.
Well, he's calling him right here, though, Vince.
Of course.
Now, look what's happening. David jumps out of his chair. He knows that if Carlos wins this pot, he's automatically going to vault up another $250,000 in real money when he can't even put in the big blind the very next deal.
It is very interesting, but you know what? Quito is the favorite. 10s are tough to come by. You got to gamble. He's playing a win here.
Well, Quito Pham is an amateur player. If he just throws that hand away, chances are he's going to finish at least in second place and pick up a $500,000 instead of $250 in case he goes out right now. But I like the idea that he's trying to win this tournament, Vince. He knows Carlos would make this raise with any 2 cards. He called him with the 2 10s.
Well, Carlos has been doing this all night long. He has been bullying these guys. He wants to make a stand.
2-1. I never lose with ace 5 anyway.
Quito Pham gambling here for $250,000 essentially in real money.
Let's see the flop.
Comes 6-5-3.
Well, Carlos hits a little piece of that. He's got a pair of 5s, but the 10's still in front. 2 cards to come. Here's the turn.
Well, it's a 9. So right now, Carlos needs an ace or a 5 to take Quito out of this tournament. And believe me, the Dragon is pulling for him.
Here's the river.
Well, it comes a 6. So Quito gives the fist. He just won a pot over $2 million. But, folks, he gambled there. Had he lost that pot, he would have most likely lost at least $250,000 in real money.
Well, it goes to show you he is going for the win. He wants this title. He can taste it. He is not a professional player. He's an amateur player. But he took the 10s and played them right, and it pays off big time.
Yes, it does. He now has over $2 million in chips, and he's going to be a force.
Nice call.
Well, David Pham all in here in the blind.
That is correct. The Dragon down to his last breath. And Carlos takes a look first. This time he lays down an 8-4.
Well, Quito is going to call here, I'm sure.
I'm all in.
Quito's gone all in.
Well, it's only another $50,000 to him to call.
Open first.
David the Dragon fan laughs it up. I don't think he's even looked at his hand yet.
No, he hasn't looked yet. He says, you turn yours up first, and I'll turn mine up. He's not going to like what he sees.
No.
It's Queen 9 for Quito, 9-8 for David the Dragon Pham. David on the total respirator now.
What a great position for Quito Pham.
Well, the family feud continues, and if Quito Pham's Queen 9 holds up here, David Pham is going to be our third place finisher.
Very close to being body bagged. 5 cards to come.
Well, flop comes Jack, Jack, Deuce. So far the Queen High holding up for Quito Pham.
It is out in front.
David must catch an 8 or 2 runners to escape this pot.
David, a professional player. You'd think he'd have a little edge. Does not seem like it. He needs some luck here.
Well, the turn card is a king. Now, what that means is if a deuce comes off or a 9 comes off, they would split the pot. They both have 2 pair with a king kicker. David needs an 8 outright to win the pot.
A little glimmer of hope. Here's the river. No.
Well, it's a 7, so that's going to do it. Quito Pham knocks out David Pham.
Look at that, almost brotherly love.
Well, Vince, he can hold his head up high here. He started out the day on the short stack. He took the lead at one point. He finishes in third place today. He takes home $255,000 for his efforts this week.
That means we are down to 2, Mike. Heads-up competition.
All right, Vince, as is custom on the World Poker Tour, when we get down to heads-up play, we have our money presentation. A bevy of beauties carrying cash in the cowboy hats. Yeehaw! Look at this, folks. Beautiful ladies, plenty of cash, and plenty of 10-gallon hats.
Oh, all in honor of Doyle Brunson and his famous cowboy hat.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Doyle's heads never looked as good in one of those hats as this money does, though. Doyle Brunson, what a great legend this guy is.
He is the godfather of poker. In his honor, we're doing this tournament. There you see Shauna Hyatt bringing in the beautiful WPT chip set.
Great for a home game.
They started 4 days ago, 312 players, and it's down to these two.
And one of these guys is going to take home $1 million tonight. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more exciting action from Bellagio in just a moment.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, the fabulous Fontana Lounge. We are down to 2 heads-up action, $1 million to the winner. Mike, who do you like?
I picked Carlos Mortensen before it started. He's got the chip lead heads up. I can't switch now, Vince.
But this young player, not a professional poker player, just holding his own, playing brilliantly here.
Well, here we go. Heads-up play about to begin.
And it's going to be on Keto Fam first. Peaks down to Queen 7 of Hearts.
Vince, I'll tell you, you've got to love the composure of this guy today. He hasn't been intimidated by these pros, at least not on the outside. Playing very well here all week this week. Got a chance to snap off this title.
And here he goes again. He's going to raise it.
Makes it $680,000. Now, Carlos looks down at 9-6 offsuit. Not the kind of hand you really want to put another $500,000 in the pot with. And Carlos folds. So there you have it. Keto picks up pot number 1.
Keto Fam. Don't forget, he told his wife, you know what, honey, I'm going to go away on a little business trip.
Hey, Vince, he wasn't lying about that.
No.
I mean, how much business can you do when you take home $1 million a day?
Yeah, I think he left out the poker part until he made the final table, though. But now his wife is in the audience and has got to be thrilled here.
He's got a shot to capture this title, but he's got a mountain of a man to get around to win it.
He's got Carlos Mortensen, who's got a pair of 3s right now.
700.
Carlos bets 700,000.
And Keto quickly folding his Jack 6.
Yep. So round 2 going to Carlos Mortensen.
This is push and poke poker right now.
What is it?
Push and poke. You push around, you poke the guy, you take the pot.
Okay.
Push and poke. Watch and learn, my friend.
Well, we're right back to where we started here when they started heads-up play. And Vince, you got to give this Keto Fam credit. He's just had a great week all week long. An amateur from Garland, Texas. Here he is, fighting it out for a chance to be a millionaire and capture a World Poker Tour title.
Here we go. It's going to be on Carlos Mortensen.
Well, he looks down at King 10 of clubs.
That is a strong starting hand.
$600.
And he's going to bet 600,000. Well, now Keto Fam has picked up King 8 of diamonds. What to do now with the King 8?
All in.
Oh, he's going to go all in.
He's going all in. He wants to put Carlos to the test. And folks, believe me, it is a true test here right now for Carlos Mortensen. It's another $1.5 million for him to call this bet. He's only got King 10.
I call.
But he's doing it. He's
done it. He's made the call, and is he going to love it when Keto turns up his hand? He's in a dominating position. He's got King 10. Keto has King 8.
He has done the right thing at the right time. Doesn't mean he's going to win this. He's got to feel proud to make this kind of call.
Right now, Carlos Mortensen, the big favorite to capture the title right here on this hand.
Cecilia holding her breath, can't believe it. Her husband going after $1 million, just 5 cards away from this title.
Now recognize if Keto wins this pot, he'll have over $4 million in chips, and he'll be the 2-1 chip leader.
Royal flush, I need.
5 cards to come. Here we go, Mike.
Here comes a flop.
This is a good way to win, right? With royal flush.
Well, it's king 3 deuce.
Both of them hit pair of kings.
But Carlos in great shape because his second card, the kicker, is higher. So what this means is Quito is going to have to catch an 8 or 2 running diamonds to win this pot.
And here's the turn.
7 of clubs on the turn.
Not going to help Quito.
Well, it's come down to 1 card. If Carlos Mortensen can dodge an 8, he is going to be the newest World Poker Tour millionaire and WPT champion.
Well, he's never won a World Poker Tour event.
He's 1 card away from doing it. Can he dodge the 8?
Let's see the last card.
Here's the river.
Yes, he does. It's a 4.
He did it.
Just a magnificent performance by Carlos Mortensen here all week long.
I love it.
You got to feel great for Carlos and pretty good for Quito. What a performance he put on this week. Came up here from Garland, Texas, took home 2nd place and $500,000.
But right now, this moment is on Carlos Mortensen, taking home $1 million.
And now, as is the custom on the World Poker Tour, it's time to toast our champion with Michelob Amber Bock, the official beer of the World Poker Tour. Ladies and gentlemen, from Madrid, Spain, the champion of the inaugural Doyle Brunson North American Poker Championship, Carlos Mortensen. For Vince Van Patten, Shauna Hyatt, and everyone at the World Poker Tour, I'm Mike Sexton saying thanks for watching. And until next time, may all your cards be live and your pots be monsters.